Hey everybody, this is Ronald, and we are starting a new series this week called Launch. I am super excited to get going, and I am also super excited for all of the brand new 6th graders who are in the room with me. Or you would be in the room with me if we were actually meeting in a room. That'd be cool if we were meeting in a room. September 13th, be there. It's going to be great. Hey, we're going to start a brand new series this week called Launch, because a lot of you are launching into something new, and maybe even launching into something new this week, like school, or being in middle school, or trying out something new like Zoom classrooms with maybe some new structures, or trying out a brand new school because you switched over to one, or you're in 6th grade, so you're moving from elementary to middle school. Lots of brand new stuff. And so what we're going to do is we're going to talk about launching. Times in the Bible where God used a person or sent a person to do something big. And the first thing that we're going to look at today, the first person we're going to look at today is Noah. So if you will, either find a Bible, get on Genesis 6, or listen to me read this to you. Genesis 6, starting in verse 5, going to verse 8, let's go. When the Lord saw that human wickedness was widespread on the earth, and that every inclination of the human mind was nothing but evil all the time, the Lord regretted that he had made man on the earth, and he was deeply grieved. Then the Lord said, I will wipe mankind, whom I created, off the face of the earth, together with the animals, creatures that crawl, birds of the sky, for I regret that I made them. Noah, however, found favor with the Lord. Now, let me describe something here real quick. I understand that you think, well, God regretted that he made people? Didn't God know? It wasn't necessarily that it's regret ooh, I made a oopsie. God doesn't make mistakes. What God regrets is that man was doing wrong. That man was choosing wrong over and over and over again instead of choosing him. Now, God knew that men were going to choose this. He knew that people were sinful. That's not taking him by surprise, but it doesn't mean that he can't feel sad about it. Now, for you, to ask you this question, have you ever felt like this girl over here, that you were alone? Maybe you felt like you were the only one who was making right choices in a situation. Because that's where Noah was. It says the entire world, everyone on earth was being evil except Noah, because he was the one who found favor with the Lord. Can you imagine how lonely that might feel? How hard that might be? Well, yeah, that's where Noah was. So let's keep reading. Genesis 6, 11 through 16. Now the earth was corrupt in God's sight, and the earth was filled with wickedness. God saw how corrupt the earth was, for every creature had corrupted its way on the earth. Then God said to Noah, I have decided to put an end to every creature, for the earth is filled with wickedness because of them. Therefore, I'm going to destroy them along with the earth. Make yourself an ark of gopher wood. Make rooms in the ark and cover it with pitch inside and outside. And this is how you're to make it. The ark's going to be 450 feet long, 75 feet wide, and 45 feet high. You're to make a roof, finishing the sides of the ark to within 18 inches of the roof. And you're to put a door in the side of the ark. Make it with lower, middle, and upper decks. What was the last time that you did something, without necessarily understanding the reason you were doing it? If you've ever played a game with a little kid, you know what I'm talking about. Because a lot of times they start off with, let's play a game. I'm going to run up there and you chase me. Ready? Go. Ah! And then you get up there and you chase them and you find them and they're like, wait, no, the game's going to change. Instead of this, I'm going to go jump off this. And if I jump off this and I land in the sand, I'm safe and you can't tag me anymore. And you're like, I didn't even know we were supposed to be playing tag. This idea of being told, hey, Noah, build a boat. Can you imagine what was going on in Noah's brain? Hey God, normally you build a boat next to water or close to the water, but I'm just building a boat right here, where there's not any water around. Noah was just saying, okay, yeah, God, I'm gonna do what you tell me to do, because Noah was faithful like that. Genesis 6, 17 through 21. This is when God tells Noah why. Understand that I'm bringing a flood. Flood waters on the earth to destroy every creature under heaven with the breath of life in it. Everything on earth will perish, but I will establish my covenant with you. And you will enter the ark with your sons, your wife, and your sons' wives. You are also to bring unto the ark 2 of all living creatures, male and female, to keep them alive with you. 2 of everything, from the birds according to their kinds, to the livestock according to their kinds, and from the animals that crawl on the ground according to their kinds. They will come to you so that you can keep them alive. Take with you every kind of food that's eaten. Gather it as food for you and for them. Now, you probably haven't recently signed any legal documents. I'm just guessing. But me and my house, we're actually going through this big process right now where we're refinancing our home, which is going to save us money. And it's a long story, but the whole point is during this process, we are having to sign a ton of papers to say that yes, we are this person. Yes, we have money. Yes, we're going to refinance this house. Yes, this is the address of the house we're going to refinance. It's exhausting. But it's a formal agreement. It's a big deal because the house is a big deal, right? Well, God is entering into a formal agreement with Noah here. He's making what's called a covenant with Noah, a binding formal agreement between two parties. The purpose of bringing Noah and the animals into the ark was to save them, to keep them alive, because God was going to cast judgment on everything else. And the whole purpose of saving these few was so that they could repopulate the earth, and so that God could save the ones who had been faithful to him. And this is how faithful Noah was, and I love this. Genesis 6:22. And Noah did this. He did everything that God had commanded him. I hope that we have faith like Noah. When God can tell us to do crazy things that maybe we don't fully understand why or how or what it's going to look like when we're done, but instead of questioning, like so many people in the Bible do, Noah just does exactly what God told him to do. It says he did everything God had commanded him. The reality is that God uses our example of faith. Noah is someone who we talk about as a man who had faith, who did what God asked him to do. So if God is using us, you and me, as examples of faith, what might that look like to our families? Or to the people we're doing Zoom school with, or regular school? What would it look like to your friends, or the people who live in the neighborhood with you? I want you to ask this question of yourself this week. How can I be an example of faith? What can I do that will help me live in such a way that points other people to God? What I also want you to do is sometime this week, think about how you can get a hold of the devotion that I have down below in the comments, download it, put it on your phone, print it out, whatever you need to do, and just spend some time in God's Word this week. Spending time in God's Word is really going to help you grow so that you can be an example of faith and know what God is commanding you to do. Because God uses us as an example of faith. Hey, I'm really looking forward to the rest of this series with you guys, and I hope you are too. We will see you next week.